Is that all right? To our listeners, if you weren't listening before, this is the Canadian national anthem. If you haven't already heard it. I love Lavinia.
Can you all stand, please? Thank you. Hand on your chest.
Oh dear.
Did you say NHS?
Hand on your chest.
Shout out to everyone watching on YouTube.
It's not the best one I've heard, to be fair.
You still let it go, woman. Cut her off. I can't believe that.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you for that, Lavinia.
I'm
not sure if you've redeemed yourself.
I don't think so. I tried.
You did really well, and then you had to say that last comment.
As we're playing it,
What a
I had
wall.
one single tear running down my face, and she went, "I ate it."
Not the best in the world.
Oh, Lavinia, what are you like?
What do you like?
Right, now,
Bewitched.
I'm more serious.
What do you like?
what do you like? What song was that?
Say la vie. Say la vie.
And at the end, you just go, "What do you like?"
What do you like?
What was that?
Oh, God, I love the Irish.
Oh,
They've got an anthem.
No,
They do.
we're not. No,
not going there, no, no.
Oh, okay, there you go.
But speaking of Ireland,
See what I did there?
see what you did
So no,
there?
it's my connect.
It's
I'm a
known-
G up
it's,
in this.
it's a joint segue.
High five.
But will it be a joint segue?
Oh,
I'm on fire.
fire, fire, fire.
Somebody put me out because I'm all aflame.
Where's Davide when you need him?
I'm telling you.
Hey.
Imagine he just popped up.
Fire, fire. Banana fall on you. Anyway, sorry. We digressed. Mr. Boris Johnson, what's he been up to?
Speaking of people who digress, now the EU has proposed a common regulatory is a ridiculous word, area on the island of Ireland. That's hard to say. Island of Ireland. The solutions cannot be found for the post-Brexit border. It's like a tongue twister.
It is. Yeah.
Keep
No,
your
they
toes.
unveiled a draft legal agreement by EU. Sorry.
And that's the end of the
Just a
show.
moment there. What has happened?
So many words.
This is so emotional. I know. Just breathe.
EU negotiator Michael Barnier said this would be a backstop option and called on the UK to come up with some alternatives. He said the text was no surprise and just a ridiculously worded assessment of what has been agreed so far. So there's been criticism in the UK at the proposal for not right. Basically, what this means is there's a draft
Summary.
document that's gone out about the hard border
Exactly.
in Ireland between Southern Ireland, or the Republic of Ireland, and Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
Now Britain said back in December. You enjoyed that.
In November or December?
It was on the last day of November and the first
I
day of
see
December
what you
at
did there.
midnight.
I see.
From
Okay.
one in t'other.
On the cuff. On the cuff.
Yeah, that there would be no hard border, and there can't be a hard border because we can't go back to that.
I can't go back to the time of troubles.
No,
when...
I refuse.
No.
But Boris Johnson.
You must have seen that firsthand, right? I'm joking.
What a wall. Strike number 3.
Oh God, I'm out.
So,
It's been really great having you, Lydia, as our intern. I'd like to thank you for nothing. Leave your key on the way out.
what did you say?
I wasn't in the troubles.
No, you weren't in the trouble.
Scotland's not the same as Ireland.
No,
They're two
no.
different locations.
It was a joke about the decades. That's what it was.
Hey!
No,
Wait,
she said-
decades.
No, Addo, sorry.
That's why it's a joke.
I'm just going to turn her mic right now. No, she didn't say decade. She said decades.
Decades.
No, you
Oi.
used to be an intern. Talk to me. What exactly is wrong with living?
Well, the first rule is you don't upset the master. The second rule is you don't upset the master.
What's the third rule?
You don't upset the master.
Do you want a coffee or tea? Can I make it up to you in any way?
I need something.
Do you need
Hard
something?
liquor.
I need something.
So else unless you're implying you're an alcoholic. Oh my gosh. This is too
I
much.
love alcohol.
So I was an alcoholic who fought in the Troubles.
Yeah. So you're trying to say she's a fighter, an ex.
So I'm a
let's leave it there.
69-year-old former British soldier.
Oh God.
I can't wait for
Sorry.
Brexit. I can't.
Moving on swiftly.
Right, but it's a good point that you've made. We don't want to go back to the time of the Troubles.
Yeah.
And a hard border. I think that's what people are worried about in Northern Ireland and Republic of Ireland, that it will cause that. But it just seems like when it comes to Brexit, we've basically got no idea what we're doing.
Well,
No, nothing's really clear at the moment.
No.
I would say there's not much. There's no point in panicking. But
don't panic,
I think,
Mr. Margarine.
But I think Boris Johnson's comments of saying that they're exploiting the issue in order to stop Brexit is slightly, because it is a serious issue. I mean,
Yeah,
it
of
is.
course it is.
the Republic of Ireland want to have a bit more clarity. They're not involved in the Brexit negotiations. They
Exactly.
don't know what's going on, but the border would affect them, and it will
Yeah.
affect the trade between the two nations that in between the two parts of the island. And I think it is something that needs to be discussed. And he's yet again come out with some sort of trite.
But this is the thing with Boris Johnson. Everything that comes out, 99% of the things that come out of his mouth are a bit rubbish, aren't they?
Yeah.
To say the least. I mean, sometimes you just want to say, Boris, if you can't say anything nice or sensible, don't say anything at all. Lavinia, you should also listen to that.
Yep. Forgot to say I'm actually his granddaughter. No, I'm joking. No,
For
I'm
a
not.
minute there, I was like, that's why.
That's probably why. No.
I don't think Boris
no.
is not old enough to be. He's
Well,
not-
I mean,
he's
if I
blonde.
was old enough to fight in the Troubles,
Oh, yeah, but you're clearly, according to LB,
You were front line, mate. You were front line.
99 years old.
you're older than Boris, according to LB.
I'm older than everyone.
You are
But together.
older than
Oh,
the universe.
it's a good time.
Boris is a weird one because he speaks to people, and some people like what he says. Because he's a laugh. He's got a British heart at hand, and so what he says has a lot of weight. But what he says is usually, as you said rightly, rubbish. It's trife. Yeah. But he just says it. He just says what off the top of his head, and stuff like that is dangerous. Like the whole situation with him and the lady, that was
The lady?
The
mistress?
this is my brain's gone.
The lady.
The lady. There's a lady. He implied that she was a spy.
Yes, the woman that's in jail in Iran.
Yeah, did he let her go? Has she been
No,
released?
she's still
still
in
there
prison
now.
in
I thought they
Iran.
let her go.
And what happened was, Iran thought she was conspiring with journalists or was a journalist,
Yeah.
and she wasn't. And then
And
he
he
stood up
said-
in Parliament
said
and
she
said, blah
was.
blah blah. She's a journalist, and everyone
jealous.
was like,
Charlie.
"Who asked you?"
Charlie. Idiot.
Weeshed. as we
Yeah.
would say
So
in
yeah, he's
Glasgow.
going to continue doing what he's doing, and he's going to get the support that he wants because he's in a position where people like what he's saying.
Sorry, yeah, no. People
It's
like-
just that the
It's true.
Tories at the moment don't want to hear any criticism on their Brexit negotiations, and it's all moving so slowly. And I think actually, well, why can't we be a little bit cheesed off that?
Well-
That rightly so we don't know what's going on in the next
And we
year.
should be.
We should
because-
be.
It is so unclear, and no program has been put forward.
Oh, why would it though?
And at the end of
Why
but
would
at
it?
the end of the day, everybody voted for it. Sorry.
Whoa.
No.
52%.
Of course they did.
The
They did.
majority voted for it, and that's what they wanted to happen. So make it happen, but stop
Yeah.
chatting about it. I'm so bored of it.
I guess my qualms with this is sorry.
Lavinia,
Apart-
sorry.
Maybe I should.
Okay, what's happening? So you've punched.
aggressive there,
You've
bro.
punched
No,
at
I
it.
punched him with my chair.
Yeah, that's even worse, bro.
I was twisting in my chair because I was about to call something really intelligent, guys.
Right,
I'm
okay,
saying.
release
what
it,
was
release
it?
it, release it,
Hit
release it.
us.
Come.
I'm not going to say it now.
No, come. After viciously
I feel-
attacking me
I
with
feel
a
This is
chair.
what
feel
Boris does,
intimidated.
and then he
Exactly.
says things
Yeah.
like she was a journalist.
Journalist, yeah.
You know, I'm just going to wheel my chair to the side of the room because I can't.
It's too late.
Can't
They still hear
concentrate.
you.
Can't concentrate. Okay, fine.
Distracted.
Don't move my mic, please.
Oh,
You tell him.
I'll tell him. Do you want me to punch you again?
What a wow. That's on the air.
No, okay.
Mansnotduty.com.
Just really quickly, my only qualms were that people voted for something that, well, they didn't really know what they were voting for because there was no
True.
plan put
Yeah.
forward before
True.
before the election, before the referendum.
Yep.
And I think that's what they did wrong. All these promises, empty promises,
Yeah.
that Nigel Farage, Boris Johnson made, and there wasn't really a coherent strategy. So then once it did happen, everyone panicked, and the government itself doesn't really know what hard Brexit or soft Brexit really means, and neither does the EU. And the EU,
I still
actually,
think that
the ball's
term,
in their court.
that
so-
term is really stupid. Hard Brexit. Brexit's Brexit, regardless.
No, if it's hard or soft.
Well, that's the whole point.
That makes no sense.
There are
and the way
Brexiteers who want it to be
everyone's
hard
going,
and-
everyone's saying, oh yeah, they need us. The EU need us. No, they don't.
But the way
They
I
do
see
not.
it, the way I see it is, Britain is obviously fighting still to remain in the single currency for trade purposes, and that to me is a soft Brexit. So, and we're divorcing the EU is going to cost us £40 billion.
Yeah.
What is the point
What's
if
the
nothing's
point?
going to change
More expensive
economically?
than my divorce. Wow.
This is a
No,
tad.
but you're missing the main factor why people vote. They want their sovereignty back.
Yeah.
And also, they wanted to have blue passports. That's
Yeah.
important.
I'm
Very
so
important.
upset. Actually, that honestly really
You want the blue one?
No, that upset me that we're losing our little maroon
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
passport.
Oh,
I don't wanna
you
lose my
guys are.
passport.
My passport's 10 years. I just got it last year, so I'm
Oh,
good.
me too. My passport is valid until
Oh
2023.
yeah, well mine too. But like,
Other passports are
And
available.
Not
it's
if
an
I
EU
lose it again,
passport as
so-
well. So I don't have to go in the rubbish queue. It's going in the big queue.
Me too. I've got one of those digital.
That never. Can I say
those are
something?
awful.
They never work.
Never work.
They
They
never
don't
work.
work. My face has changed.
Mine always. What? Oh wow.
My
Face
face has changed.
Wait a minute. You had a face change?
Well, I might as well.
Face, you know that film Face Off?
Face
Off. Love that film.
That's my film,
Love
darling.
that
I
film.
feel excluded. I don't know what's going on.
What?
that
Me
film.
and you.
You haven't seen
We're
it?
doing a seminar. We're doing a film night. Watch.
Yeah, you need to watch Face Off.
Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Have you seen Pan's Labyrinth?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. Pan's
Am I
Labyrinth.
live? Yeah.
Face off.
Face Off.
I might do the Harry Potter though.
You're not gonna watch Harry Potter.
I might do the Harry Potter.
You need to.
You have to. I'm
You need
sorry.
to.
You I mean, they aren't as good as the books we have
No,
spoken about.
they
this,
aren't.
But you must.
8
How
films,
can you
though.
call yourself British if you haven't watched Harry Potter?
I'm Charlie. I'm
Dangerous.
Ghanaian.
She's
I'm
entering a
Ghanaian.
dangerous
I'm
zone.
Ghanaian.
How do you? This.
I'm Ghanaian. I don't even have a passport in this country. So.
Okay, fine.
That's not true. I am British before the police come. I am British. I was born and raised here.
It's snowing outside. They ain't coming
My
today.
real name's John. McGree. Yeah.
Oh, right. Thank you for that, guys. I think
You're
we've come to
fired.
the conclusion
fired.
that
Get out.
Lavinia is a bit dangerous, Brexit is rubbish, and how does this not British? Here's Kiss Daniel.